6. I've cranked up the delay for from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, just out of precaution. You know, I don't exactly know how the problems are gonna go. I feel like every time I crank up the delay, it's just asking for me to look like a fool and not be able to solve the question in expedited amount of time, thus making the delay completely pointless. But I just don't want it in the back of my mind like, oh no, I'm going fast and I'm getting a leaderboard hit and it's streamed, even though Eric's asking people not to stream. So just for now, I'm gonna add the delay. The weird part is that even though I'm streaming on delay, I think I have to click this go live button 3 minutes in the future, which affects 3 minutes in the past starting to be broadcasted on YouTube. So I have to remember to set that up so to start the stream at least n minutes before, so that I can click that button before the problem is actually released. But yeah, leaderboard so far, just scrolling it. Yeah, we're doing pretty well this year. Currently tied for 33rd, right below Ost Wilkins, who's one of the people who did a proof of concept of GPT-3 solving. As expected, Beta Veros in the number 1 spot. Yeah. I'm somewhat surprised that we haven't seen a graph search question yet, or a introduction to the VM, so maybe there's no really involved VM this year, though I would like if there was at least a short one that comes back in maybe 3 or 4 problems, because those are fun. I had a lot of fun with the optimization problems in the past, where there was a VM you built in a previous set of problems and then you were given a new program to run basically, and if you just emulated the machine code, it would take way too long and you had to hand inspect the assembly essentially to figure out what the optimization was and kind of code that in as a new opcode into the VM. I think those are really innovative, though I guess now that it's been done once, people will know to look for that, but still a cool problem, I think. So I think I also fixed the music problem before. I was trying to get too fancy with OBS and splitting audio onto different tracks, but I'm actually not supposed to do that and leave everything on track 1 for the purposes of the stream. So now I have to click go live, and that starts the stream on YouTube 3 minutes in the past. But yeah, surprisingly, I felt pretty slow on yesterday's problem with the whole input parsing. It was just simple enough that I was wondering, maybe I should just hand code what the stack of crates is. But then I decided, oh, I'll just parse it, and then I was a bit in too deep to go back and just hand code it. In retrospect, it probably would have been faster, even without just manipulating the input, but just actually hard coding it by typing in the letters, since typing in letters is something I can do alright. But yeah, we will see how today goes. Hopefully everything is alright with the stream. The 3-minute delay is also kind of nice because it gives me some time to get up while I fast forward the stream forward in time after solving, to kind of take a break and then get in the mindset to explain the problem in real time. So another side effect of that. Alright. pretty sure this is the. So let's pull on, it's just 14. Okay, that's a pretty straightforward problem. I will let this go and try to fast forward into the future. So I do this. Oh, I do this first. Okay. I think we should be back in real time now. I'm getting the hang of this. Music should be off. Cool. So today went pretty well, actually. I wasn't expecting a super fast problem for today, considering it was we're a bit later into the month, but it was a fast problem. I honestly probably could have answered this question faster, but I thought there was a catch, and so I did extra work to just double check that I had stuff correct. So day 6, called Tuning Trouble. Something about elves and receiving a signal. And to fix the communication system we're receiving, we need to detect the start of packet marker in the data stream. And so it was helpful that I downloaded the input and it printed out, and I saw that it was one long line. Rather than, some problems are just like one long line and you need to look through it for something. Some are like you have to do everything on different lines. So in this case, we want to look for the start of packet marker. And what does that mean? It means the start of a packet is indicated by a sequence of 4 characters that are all different. So if this was our stream, we can see that here, this window of MJQJ, there's a duplicate J here. So that's not the start of the packet. If we walk forward a bit more, we have a duplicate J again. So it's also not the start of packet. Here, we see Q's are duplicated, and so it's also not the start of the packet. But at this point, all the characters in this sliding window are unique, right? The J, P, Q, and M. And so apparently in this stream, this M is considered the start of the packet marker. And M falls under the 7th character in this string, so we'd want to return 7 here. And so for another example here, this start of packet starts really soon, where the B is duplicated here, but if we move forward even one more character, it's the J replacing it, and so every character here is unique. So it's actually a pretty simple thing to solve, so we'll just write it completely from scratch. So we want some way to pipe in our input. Okay, go away autocomplete. I think that's the only thing we'll use here, and we'll say the stream is going to be we'll read the first line of standard input, and I guess we'll also strip it to remove the end of the file, or sorry, end of line at the end. So now if we print stream, and we open up another thing to run our code, I will just pipe in the input. So we can do Python day 6, and we'll pipe in input / 06.txt. Or maybe I called it inputs. Yeah, well, we read in the input of the stream, right? And so what do we want to do? We want to figure out when the 7th character arrives. And so that's pretty straightforward. We can loop through the string, every character in the string, or for the length of the string at least. So for I in range of the length of the stream of characters. And then what do we want to do? Well, we want to look at this window of 4 characters long, right? So we can call that sliding window our window. And how can we figure out what that is in Python? Well, we can use slicing. So we want to start at the ith character, and we want it to be 4 characters long. So we want to add 4 here. So this will give us a window of 4 characters. If I go and I print this out like so, and we were to run this in my terminal down here, whoops, we get these windows of 4 characters like this. So that's pretty much what we want. We want to look at this window, and then all we want to do is figure out, is there a repeated character in here? Well, I was using a utility function that I imported called allUnique or something like that, which is basically just doing this. A quick way you can check if everything in a list is unique in Python is turning it into a set and comparing the length of that set to the length of the object itself, or the length of the iterable. And the reason this works is because sets remove duplicate elements, right? So for example, if you have a set with, if we say this is like A, B, C, D, E, and then repeat the A, the length of A is going to be 6. There's 6 things in it, obviously. But if we make A into a set, it removes the duplicate A. So the length of it after turning into a set is going to be different. So therefore, if we compare the length of A and the length of set of A, if it's false, that means there's a duplicate object in it. And if it's true, it means everything is unique. So we can use that to our advantage to check if everything is unique in this window. So if the length of the window is equal to the length of the turning everything in that window into a set, then we want to print the character that we're at. And so this is a part that I'm glad that I double checked, because I easily could have just slammed submit knowing that this was the answer and ended up submitting the wrong thing. If we were to just print this and then break, it would be printing I, which is the index of the first character in the window. So for example, in this example here, the window that matches is this. And so if we printed I here, we would actually get 1, right? Because we would be on the second iteration of our loop. But what we actually want to print is 5. And so the trick here is just to add 4. And that'll give us the index of this character as opposed to the index of this character. So we want to print I plus 4 and then break so that we don't have to loop anymore. So if we run this code, we get 1134, and that's the answer to part 1. Part 2 was pretty straightforward too. We skimmed this, and all it says is the start of message marker as opposed to the start of packet marker is the exact same thing, but our rolling window is 14 long instead of 4. So all we really have to do here is add a 1 here, add a 1 here, and if we run this code, we get 2263. Obviously there's more characters in the window, so it's easier for there to be a duplicate, and if we look at the input, there's a lot of these just repeated groups of characters, such that it takes a while until you get a big 14 character window with no duplicates in it. So I guess just to have a single file that has both outputs in it, we can do something like this, where we want to look for the window in part 1 is of length 4, and the window of length 2 will be of length 14. Whoa. And not part 1, we will say part 1 is equal to I plus 4 once we find that. And this will be this. I just want to have a single run of the program, right? That prints out both things so that there isn't any editing that needs to be done to get both outputs. So just doing something very simple like this. Once we assign it once, we don't like reassign it so that we get the first instance of when it happened as opposed to every instance of when it happened. And then we can just break after we see this, because we'll definitely have seen a window of 14 unique characters after 4 unique characters. And then we can say part 1, the answer is part 1, and part 2, the answer is part 2. And if we run this program, we get 1134 and 2263. Oh, I never even refreshed this. 2263 was the answer. So pretty straightforward day today. Check out the leaderboard. After realizing that the problem was simple, I didn't know if my code was fast enough, but we snuck in a 21st place for part 1 and actually moved up to 16th place for part 2, which feels pretty good. So yeah, all in all, a pretty solid day. Brings us up to just squeaking into top 25 for the global leaderboard. So yep, that is Advent of Code 2022 day 6. Thank you for watching, and I'll be